Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So today was another rough day. Bitcoin and the markets overall, miners, everything pretty much pooped their pants today because we got a jobs report from somebody that was looking pretty bad, pretty rough, and things went south because of that. Okay, overall, what else we have here? Iren reported their Q1 2026 report. It was actually really good. There's a lot of good stuff there. It's like I put in the title, it's a monster in the making here, I believe. We'll get over all that. We'll take a look at what the miners did today with Bitcoin, everything else. We'll go through it all. But as always, we got to go through this. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what happened here with Bitcoin today. It basically gave away all of the gains that we had from yesterday here. We are still above the 100,000 mark here, which is good. We did obviously dip 2.48% there. We closed at 101,290 and 50 cents here. Markets were all down. Dow Jones, NASDAQ, S&P were all down. Russell was also down. And then you can see on the miners, everything was down on that as well. Let's see here, Ethereum here was down also 3.23%. It closed at 3,313. Miners had a really rough day today. Bitfarms was down 9.11%. BitTier was down 3.89. Kango was down 3.66. Cypher was down quite a bit there, 12.14%, erasing all the gains we had yesterday. Cleanspark was down 7.12%. CORZ was down 5.55% after being down much more and then actually bouncing back up here a little bit. Hive was down 6.1%. HUT8 was down 7.72%. Iren was even down 12.37%, again, erasing all the gains from yesterday. Mara was down 6.83%. And that one's bouncing off the 200 SMA, maybe. Riot was down 8.59%. Blew past the 50 SMA on that one. And then my mouse is stuck. Where's my mouse stuck? There we go. Let's see here. Wolf was down 7.03%. So like I said, everything was pretty much down today. I think maybe the algos panicked here a little bit and fried a couple circuits, and things went down quickly here for us. On this, MicroStrategy was down 6.98, Galaxy was down 3.4, Block was down 3.69, Coin was down 7.54, Metaplan was down 5.19, Exodus was down 7.7, Nexon was up 0.81% there, Semler was down 4.59, Phoenix was down, up 7.65, Game was down 3%, small miners took a beating as well, Annie was down 4.3, Argo was down 9.5, DigiPower was down 11.2, DMG was down 5.6, Mawson was down 10.9, Canon was down 12.4. Bitcoin miner ETFs also took a beating here today. BitQ was down 7.2, BKCH was down 7.9, DAP was down 7.4, WGMI was down 9%. And that one obviously owns a lot of Iren, Cypher, and other shares as well of other companies. So that took a big hit there. The Ethereum holding companies here also got beat up. BMNR was down 9.7. Bit Digital was down 7.6. BTCS was down 8.2. Game was down 8. SBET was down 7.9. Other companies we track, ABTC was down 5.2% there. FIG was actually up 4.48. Wi-Fi was down 8.51. Open was down 9.27. Oracle was down 2.6. Nibius was down 6.46. Soluna was down 11.63. Backed was down 10.69. Fermi was down 3.06. So, yeah, overall, if you look across the board, it was pretty much in the red here, except for a couple stocks here. Google was actually up 0.21% there. Amazon, Microsoft were all down. Meta was down even at that point. So, not a great day for us, but it's volatile. We need the U.S. government to reopen. We need to get some actual data instead of getting the data that we do have right now, which we'll talk about that here in a second. As far as the miners here after hours right now, if we look at this, we can see that BitDeer right now at least is showing it's up a little bit, 0.05%. Bitfarms here is actually down 1.62%, or now 1.08%. Cypher, let's see where that one comes in is. That one's up 2.26%. Cleanspark here is up 1.75%. Core is up a little bit, 0.29%. Hive is down 1.46%. HUT8. See where HUT8 comes in at. They are down, up actually, up 1.45%. Iren here after hours right now. It was up like at 7% at one point. It's up, let's see here, 3 point. Let that catch up. A lot of trading happening on that one, as always. Seems like an after hours. See where it ends up. Come on. All right, we're in the threes at least, so that's good. Let's see, where do we end up at? All right, we're up 3.39%. Not too bad. Mara here is up. That one's trading quite a bit also. Up 0.88 there. Riot is up 0.4, well, maybe up 0.75%. And TeraWolf, lastly but not least, is up 1.4%. So we're starting to look a little bit green here. But this is, why is it showing me November 3rd on this one? This should be more recent. All right, 1.4. Right, it was down today. I was like, yeah, I knew it was down today, but it's like, why was it showing me green here? All right, so there's that. Bitcoin here for the month is actually down 7.57%. Not the greatest start to the month here in November. We're basically a week in already as it is, and it's not looking great, at least right now. Bitcoin ETF inflows here, or outflows. Did we get any? We got inflows today. We'll see where BlackRock comes in today. That one. And then here's what really drove the market down today. So U.S. job cuts are skyrocketing. U.S. firms announced 154,600 job cuts, according to Macro Edge Research. Tracker the highest monthly count in at least the last 2 years, it looks like. This marks a whopping 84% jump from the 84,000 recorded in September. The U.S. labor market is deteriorating fast. It is. And this might be a sign that the Fed is going to have to cut rates again in December, potentially, just to spur the economy going forward here on it. So we have that. That's the main reason why things were so bad today. And, you know, hopefully cooler heads prevail tomorrow. This is from Mike Alfred here. Iren is growing aggressively, 140,000 GPUs and 3.4 billion annual run rate by year end of 2026. With world-class customers like Microsoft, Iren will be the only scaled-up, fully vertical integrated AI cloud built to serve external customers. This is an absolute beast in the making here. And I agree, I called it a monster, but he's calling it a beast. I call it a monster. And it is. So let's take a look at what Iren actually had to report here today. And we didn't get anything, well, we got pretty good news as far as them building out their own GPUs going forward. So that's kind of one of the things I was looking forward to see if they would increase that, and they are. So here's what we have here, right? Highlights are targeting 3.4 billion in AI cloud annualized run rate revenue by the end of 2026, expansion to 140,000 GPUs, secured 9.7 billion contract with Microsoft, obviously, phased deployments at Childress through 2026 as well. New multi-year contracts including Together AI, FluidStack, and Fireworks AI, supporting growth to target AI cloud annual run rate of greater than 500 million by year end of Q1 2026 here. So basically by the end of this year here. That's kind of what they're targeting there. Financial results, total revenue increased to a record 240.3 million. That's up 355% versus the same time last year, which was 52.8. Net income increased to a record 384.6 million. There's an asterisk though for it. Versus the prior year of negative 51.7 million there. The asterisk states includes unrealized gains primarily on prepaid forwards and capped calls in connection with convertible notes, and we'll talk about that when we look at the actual results, the numbers for them. Project update here, British Columbia, 160 megawatts, transition of data centers from ASICs to GPUs ongoing, targeting completion by end of 2026. Childress, the 750 megawatts, accelerating construction of Horizon 1 through 4. 200 megawatt critical IT load liquid-cooled data centers for Microsoft, and significant enhancements to original Horizon design, including Tier 3 equivalent concurrent maintainability, 100 megawatts, super clusters for high-performance training and flexible rack densities from 130 to 200 kilowatts there. So that's awesome. And design work advancing for potential conversion of entire campus to liquid-cooled AI deployments. They haven't talked at... I was listening to the conference call today. They talked zero about Bitcoin. There was no mention, I think, of Bitcoin other than them generating, obviously, like 200 million from Bitcoin mining revenue right now. Sweetwater here, hub, 2 gigawatts total. Sweetwater 1.4 gigawatts. Their substation energization targeting in April of 2026. So we're roughly, 6 months away, roughly, from that. And then Sweetwater 2, 600 megawatt substation energization targeting late 2027. So that's definitely still a ways out there. As far as financing, cash and cash equivalents were 1.8 billion as of October 31st. So they got plenty of cash there, and they're going to be obviously using here it is near-term capex expected to be funded through a combination of existing cash, operating cash flows, Microsoft prepayments, and additional financing initiatives as well on top of it. So that's fine there. And then here's the assumptions part of it. So the footnote number 1 represents expected 1.94 billion average annual revenue under Microsoft contract, plus estimated 1.5 billion annual run rate from 63,000 GPU deployments at British Columbia sites. Right, this is what we wanted to see. This is right there at 23,000 now. They're going to be getting another 40,000 GPUs there next year as well, or beginning of the year, through the year, whatever. But this is what I wanted to see, is that growing as well. Based on internal company assumptions regarding GPU models, utilization, and pricing, it is not fully contracted. There can be no assurance, obviously, that it will be achieved, and actual revenue may differ materially. Assumes on-time delivery and commissioning of GPUs, right? Which I think they will get. They're definitely they've been able to execute so far up to date. So I think they will be able to execute as well going forward. The demand for HPC-AI and all that stuff is just out of this world here, and I'm not too worried about them not being able to execute on that here. But again, this is all revenue that's going to be generated by GPUs, not including any revenues they're going to have for still Bitcoin mining. We don't know if that's the other part of it. We don't know what their phase-out plan is for Bitcoin mining. How abrupt will it be, or will it be over time? Because right now, they're still generating quite a bit of revenue there, which helps them build out everything else that they want to do here. Okay, so we'll take a look at that and look at those numbers there as well. If we look at their presentation deck here for the results here, we can obviously see all the stuff that's going on here. Microsoft AI Cloud contract, growth outlook, right? 140,000 GPU expansion by end of 2026. Targeting 3.4 billion annual run rate, leverages just 16% of its 3 gigawatt secure grid connect power. So obviously still a lot of growth happening there going forward. You can see their sites there as well that they have. And then here's the interesting part of it, right? Right now they're looking at about 500 million by the end of Q1 2026 with Prince George with 23,000 GPUs. 1.9 billion, this is obviously going to be for Microsoft there, right? Childress, Horizon 1 through 4. And then Mackenzie and Canal Flats, another 1 billion here potentially, bringing them to a total of 3.4 billion in annual run rate without even including Bitcoin mining here. Before we had them right around these figures here with Bitcoin mining. Now that we have this and potential of also the revenue that they're getting from Bitcoin mining, that may decrease as time goes along, right? As they change out the sites for HPC AI and get rid of the Bitcoin miners there. That might decrease the amount of revenue they're getting here, but based on what we have at least right now, we can kind of see in a little bit at least what that what implication that would have on their potential stock price going forward. All right, going down here, what else we have here? Data center update. Talked about that, right? Capacity for 60,000 GPUs across all BTC sites. That's happening there. That's awesome. Accelerating construction. We talked about that as well. Enhancements. We talked about that also. Here's the Horizon expansion potential. So Horizon 1 through 4, this is what they're working on right now. And then this is the other Horizon 5 through 10, which would be also converted over to HPC-AI eventually. Right now, they have Bitcoin mining in those facilities currently. Sweetwater, talked about that as well, right? You can see that they have 2 gigawatts at Sweetwater gross load. And you can see Dallas has 1.3 gigawatts, London has 1.1, Tokyo 1.1. San Francisco Bay Area has 967 megawatts, and Sydney has 768. So they're definitely up there as well in the megawatts potential going forward. Financial update, you guys can take a look at that stuff here. Let's see. Okay, capital efficient structure here. So 5.8 billion GPU capex, including ancillaries. 1.8 billion customer prepayment. 2.5 billion estimated financing against GPUs in contract at terms enhanced by Microsoft credit, obviously, and then 1.4 billion other sources, e.g. cash and bank, operating cash flows, equity, convertible notes, corporate debt. Payments aligned with phased delivery through 2026 as well. So I heard that on the call they said, Dan said, I believe it was, that as they get the GPUs, they have a month until they start paying on those things. So that's actually pretty good. You don't have to do a lot of prepayments there on that. As they get installed, and you're operating on those, you get basically 30 days to then start paying for those things. You guys can read the rest of the stuff here. Q&A, obviously they went into Q&A. So overall, pretty good report there. My numbers for them, let's take a look at those that we do have here for them. And I was off on the EPS on them. I had them between like 8 and 40 cents EPS. Again, like I said yesterday, we don't know if that that inflow that they had before, will it be the same this time around? It's actually more this time around than it was last time. We'll take a look at down below here, but here's what we got right now. Currently, they have about 283 million shares outstanding. This was as of today's report there. That gets them to an 18.9 billion. So they lost basically 1.1 billion here in the last day or today, basically, with the market going down, everything else being down 12%. Their 52-week high was 76.87, right? They're at 66.96 right now. Their high was obviously yesterday there. The performance of the last 12 weeks has been phenomenal, up 208% from 12 weeks ago, up 78, almost 79% from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks ago, they're up only 1.6, and last week they were down, similar to what we've seen with other companies as well. Current hash rate, I believe they're still at 50 exahash. We don't know for a fact there. I think they still are at that rate. And their current estimated revenue annual run rate, BTC, obviously mining plus HPCI, is coming in at about 4.2 billion. So even higher than what they have met. That's if we're including Bitcoin mining, which they're not, which I think they're going to probably be getting rid of the Bitcoin mining relatively quickly. But nonetheless, we'll take a look at it, how that would be if they kept on it for a little bit longer here. We'll see. Going down here, right, last 4 quarters here, revenues continue to increase here. Last quarter was 187 million, this quarter 240 million, which is nice. Last 4 quarters operating costs, definitely a big increase here, 146 million from 93 million, but their hash rate obviously grew. They're also doing other things with the HPCI business side of things here. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation came in at 39.2 thousand for them this time around. Bitcoin mine was 2,039, so that still represents that they had basically 50 exahash installed at the end of September at least, roughly. So that's kind of where that plays out pretty well right now. Debt to equity, that came down to 0.487, lower is better, so that's good. Current ratio, higher is always better. That's at 5.5, so that's also great there. Total current assets, 1.1 billion there. That was as of September there. Total current liabilities was only 203 million, so that's also really good there. And then as far as institutions here, we do have institutions increasing here to 336. Last time we updated this was about 2 months ago. So the shares owned by institutions went up also to 175.45 million there. That's 70.63% owned by institutions. We now have 9 strong buy ratings, 0 buy ratings. We have 2 hold ratings, 1 underperform, 1 sell rating, with the price targets now at high of being $142, basically $100 more than where it was 2 months ago. And then the average went up to 72.17 from the 28.73, and the low went up to 24 from 16. So nothing but positives here across the board as is right now. Going down here, we'll get into some of these metrics here in a second. But assets, we talked about that, right? 1.1 billion here at the end of the quarter. Total assets, 4.2 billion, right? That includes obviously the property, plant, and equipment, and other things as well. Total liabilities went up a little bit to 203 million from 149, so that's not bad. Total liabilities, 1.3 billion from 1.12 billion. So a slight increase there. Big increase on that was in here, deferred tax liability, 195 million looks like on that one. Total liabilities and stockholder equity was 4.2. Very, very nice increase there from the 2.9. Revenues, right? We talked about that. 240 million, 232 million of that was from Bitcoin mining itself currently. So that's still actually really good and profitable for them currently. We'll see how long they hold on to that before they divest themselves of that completely. And then AI cloud services also increased to 7.3 million from 6.9. And then with them getting obviously more GPUs installed here during this quarter, that's going to increase obviously the revenues that they're going to be getting there going forward there. On it, Bitcoin mining, the cost there was 79 million. Quite sizable increase from the 52 million that they had the prior quarter. That's because they got to 50 exahash, more machines mining. That's going to cost obviously more to power them and everything else. On that side of things here, other things that we had here was selling general and administrative expenses. Went way up, 138.359 million there from 53 million. Big portion of that, about 70-some million, was from stock-based compensation. So stock has done tremendously well here in the last, what has it been, 4 months, 5 months or something like that. So I'm okay with it, right? If the stock is doing well, the shareholders are doing well, I'm okay with them, rewarding their team there and doing, giving out stock-based compensation because of their performance here. Depreciation also increased to 85 million from 63 million, so that's still not too bad. Obviously, more miners being installed, that's going to have a higher cost in depreciation there. Let's see, impairments of assets went up to 16 million there from a positive. And then total operating expenses came in at negative 236 million on it. And then operating profit loss was 76 million here. The thing that saved them here was the unrealized gain loss in financial instruments. That was up 664 million there. And this is with the cap calls, things like that. That's where this is coming from in this. And that's what gives them that positive EPS that was way, way, way higher than I expected it to be. Okay, so gross profit minus let's see here. Net loss came in at 384 million compared to 176 million there. That was a big improvement there. They came in at $1.42 on the basic diluted shares and $1.08 on the diluted shares, with the number of shares here being weighted. And then here's the stock-based compensation, 72.4 million compared to 12.4 million that they got the prior quarter. So a huge increase, but the stock has gone up almost, what, 600, 800, 1,000% in the last couple months, right? So if they pay themselves a little bit of a bonus there, reward, I'm okay with it, right? The stock has gone from basically being at 2 billion to 20 billion. So that's a 10x on the valuation of the company here within the last, 5 months or something like that. All right. So 72 million out of going up 18 billion in value. Now I'm okay with that. That's fine with me. They should get rewarded for that performance there. They have done a fantastic job. All right, going up here. We talked about debt and current ratios as well. Book to value is 2.8. Price to book ratio is 6.5. Enterprise value is 19.3. EBITDA came in 669 for me at least. EV to EBITDA, I don't have that number. Debt to EBITDA was 2.07. Revenue, we talked about that. General administrative. So if we look at that percentage of G&A of revenue, that was 57%. But again, 72 million of that was the stock-based compensation. If we take that out, then we bring down the SG&A and stock-based compensation minus stock-based compensation of revenue. We get 27%, still up a little bit. It's 21% prior quarter. This time around, it's 27 here. And then, it's gone up. I'd like to see that come down a little bit more, but I think that's going to be okay as they get more revenue, obviously, from HPCI. That percentage should come down overall compared to the rest of the revenue that they have there. Okay, so overall, great numbers here for them. And all this stuff here. Their growth in GPUs is going to be great to see here going into next year as well. And based on that, like I said, if we're using the 3.4 billion here for the HPC AI annual run rate, and the BTC currently that they're getting annual run rate is about 875 million roughly. Combine those two, you're at 4.2 billion roughly. I have them now between $150 and 226, somewhere around there, right? The high price target for them is $142 from the analysts. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some increases on the analyst price targets going forward based on this news. Even if we, do this at 50%, let's say they slowly get that down to 50% of the revenues there. Oops, messed that up, didn't I? Let's see here, times 50%, times 0.5. We would still be $135 to $200. So even if they just generate half of what they might be able to generate from Bitcoin mining, we're still looking at $135 to $203, right? Stock is at $66. We can easily go 2 to 3x from where we are right now as it is. That's just my opinion, right? You guys are more than welcome to tell me I'm living in La La Land, potentially, but this is kind of what I'm seeing at least right now based on where they're going. And then, we're not even talking about Sweetwater 1 or Sweetwater 2 growth going forward as well. The other good news was in there that they had, they mentioned that they are in advanced talks with other customers as well. So that's also a good sign there that we might actually get a deal here in this current quarter going before the end of the year. Maybe we'll have something, for Christmas or something. Who knows? But overall, I'm a happy camper. I'm holding tight, and we're gonna get these pullbacks. Unfortunately, the markets until maybe the U.S. government actually opens back up and starts doing some business there. So we shall see. But overall, great job by the Iren team here. I'm ecstatic to see what they're going to do going forward. Like I said, I'm a happy camper. I'm holding tight. All right, let's get into Q&A here. As always, spreadsheets are going to be available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. If you want to join, a couple bucks a month, and you help support what I do. Plus, you get access to all this stuff here. All right, that is it. Let's get into Q&A here, and we'll call it a day at that point. Let's see. Hopefully that works. It should work. I think it should work. Okay, where do I want to go? All right, as always, questions. If you could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And then I'm going to scroll my way up as always and work my way down. Let's see here. All right, John says, overall market needs to correct to get the PEs down. Look at Palantir. Well, Palantir definitely has had a huge run up there. Palantir is also being shorted by Michael Burry, right? He's also shorting NVIDIA, I think, as well. All right, so it's not great there. Drago says, Team Iren. Rob says, hi, Seb. Hi, Rob. Thanks for coming in. SK, what is Iren's fair price after today's earnings? Well, we just kind of talked about that just a second ago, right? Somewhere between $135 and like $200. Let's see, Rob says bought 400 shares of Hive and Bitfarms today. Nicely done on the dip. Siam, Iren is doing exceptionally well. Yeah, they're doing fantastically well, which is great. Guy, everyone is saying that there will be a massive recession reset in 2026. Do you still plan to hold Cleanspark in 2026 if they don't run in 2025? We've been hearing about a recession reset for the last probably 2-3 years, right? People, every time things get a little high on the markets, they start calling for a recession. Yes, the jobs are coming down. That's a fact. GDP is still going up, so I'm not too concerned about it just yet there. We'll have to keep an eye on it, right? We'll monitor it, see where things are going, and if things deteriorate more, then we might be selling out here, right? Taking the gains that we do have here, and we'll see where we end up at. But it also could be where a portion of the market goes down and not the whole market, right? Certain sectors could actually do well, while others do worse. Right now, we're seeing AI do pretty well. We got beat up a little bit today, but overall, it still has outperformed tremendously here. So I think today was just, the jobs report, and I think the algo is just short-circuited there a little bit, maybe. The guy says, looks like Cleanspark will come down to 13 soon. It depends on the whole market. If the market goes down, then yeah, that could definitely come down as well. Rob, according to earnings whisper, Iren didn't meet expectations, but yet they still had the aftermarket share price rise. I'm not sure what kind of expectations did he have? Did he expect to have another deal possibly being announced or something like that? That would have been nice, but that wasn't my high expectations of that. I was more forward looking to them possibly growing their GPUs, which they did. They're getting to 63,000 or 62,000 GPUs, whatever it is. So that was more bullish for me than anything else. Roz, question, last quarter of 25 will be good for Mara, Riot, Cleanspark, or first quarter of 2026? It depends on the overall market, right? I think we've been, the government has been shut down for 37 days or something like that. We need the government back to work. We need data to start coming out again for jobs, for everything else. We need the data to be coming out. So maybe we do get that finally resolved. And maybe some time later on this month, we'll have the government reopen there and we'll start getting data again. Talked about that one here. Dan, price target for Cleanspark by February. I think it should be somewhere between $25 and $35. That's kind of where I'm thinking, at least right now, without any announcement for a co-location deal or their own Neo Cloud. But you saw, obviously, this week, pretty much the whole team from Cleanspark was at NVIDIA's headquarters there. We don't know what they talked about. We can only speculate. All right, let's see here. Guy, BlackRock moved a lot of BTC and Ethereum to Coinbase. Usually it's a sign to sell them. Well, that's depending on, obviously, if their customers are selling it. It's not that BlackRock is selling it. I think it's just their customers there. Okay, Ross, question, what is your price target for Cleanspark, Mara, and Riot in the first quarter of 2026? Yeah, hard to tell right now, depending where things go. Like I said, by the end of the year, I think Cleanspark should be higher from where it's at right now. Mara, depending on how they do Riot, I think it's pretty well valued right now as it is, unless they actually announce a deal or something like that. Then it could definitely go up higher from where it is. All right, Dan, is Cleanspark going back down to 12, 14 range? I don't think so, unless the whole market is going down. If the whole market is going down, then yeah, they could possibly go down. But that's going to be for the same thing for everybody here if the market does correct. Cleanspark's at 1540 here. Let's take a look at it here on the browser side of things. It's come down from the top here that we reached in mid-October. It's down 34%, right? So that's definitely a sizable correction here on it already. Markets overall, though, if you look at those are, let's see, this is Dow Jones. Dow Jones is only down approximately right now 2.5%, right? Not much of a correction there. NASDAQ on that one, let's see here, is down 4%. S&P is going to be down like 2% also, I think, something like that, 2-3%. It is down, 3% on that one. The Russell is down a little bit more than the rest of them. And you're seeing, obviously, some of these guys here that are, that was down 4.87% so far. But you're seeing some of the miners and others get a little bit more beaten down, but they've also had a huge run up here. So kind of to be expected there a little bit. Right, we saw that one come down here. Who else do we see come down here? Obviously, I mean, today everything came down for the most part, but Cleanspark's down quite a bit here. Bitfarms is down right now. Let's see from the top here, it's down 44% roughly. So all of these things have been coming down here, except for like Iren. Iren's continuing to go up here. Cypher, right? Cypher's continuing to go up here, but they've gotten deals here, so that's been pumping them up as well. CORZ, right, has gone up quite nicely as well. Hot has been coming down. Mara has been coming down. Obviously, Mara's down quite a bit from where they were. Let's see where they are. They were at 23.45. They are down to 15.96. They're down 32% as well, roughly. So, obviously, we're seeing some of these guys do pull back here a little bit. Riot is down from the top here that we got right there. It is down 27, almost 30%. So a lot of these guys are, having a pretty good pullback here already. And I would think that they would run eventually here. We'll see what tomorrow is like. All right, I'm not too worried about it just yet here on these guys that at least I own. But we'll see. Okay, JD, not a miner, but I don't know if you saw NUAI sign a deal for 3,500 acres of land for 7 gigawatts AI. I saw something about that as well. Yeah, that's definitely pretty sizable there. Saeem, I have a feeling that Iren will go up tomorrow. I have the same feeling, to be honest with you. All right, Gary says, hell of a beat for Iren, projected 8 to delivering 108 is, yeah, well, my numbers were based on not including that cap calls, right, which is what they're getting that big beat on. CJ says, they are really testing us. Yes, they are. Jmot Gary, pallet is SSS. I don't know what that is. Jmot, it was a terrible projection to begin with. The 8 cents, that was based on Bitcoin mining revenues, right, more or less, and didn't include any of the cap calls, benefits they get from it. But Drago says, excellent call from Iren. I agree there. It was really good. Trade rookie. Mara has been selling some of its Bitcoin, transferring approximately 230 million worth in early November, shifting from its previous strategy of holding on to Bitcoin. Did they sell it, or did they actually move it over to some of their partners that they're loaning it out to? Right? They get a couple partners that they're working with to loan it out, get yield on it, basically. I don't know if that's the case there. Mr. X, will Cleanspark's share price drop big when they announce earnings like last quarter? That I don't know, right? Will they be able to squeak out a positive EPS without the FSB impact? I don't know. It's going to be close. EDB, hi Seb, do you think Saudi Arabia and Qatar plans to build big data centers and their cheap electricity costs will have an impact on the HPC AI miners? I'm sure they're probably planning to build out something, right? I don't know exactly what they're planning to build out. But again, Saudi Arabia and Qatar are in pretty hot climates as it is. So it's going to be a little bit more, I wouldn't say more expensive, but you got to do a little bit more on the cooling side of things there, I think. So it might be a little bit closer to being on par with what you're going to be paying here in the United States, maybe. Drago says, yep, no mention of BTC. Yeah, absolutely no mention in their earnings call whatsoever there. Sadie, as always, thank you so much for those thumbs up. Drago says $100 early for 2026 in Iren. I also believe that. Mr. X, will we enter into a bear market like in 2022? I hope not. I still don't think that we are in a bear market yet with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's come down, what is it, 20% roughly from the top here. That's still a healthy correction. We could go down even more to right around 98, 95,000, and that would be roughly 30% correction at that point, which we have seen already twice in the last probably 12 to 18 months in Bitcoin, right? We've done that twice. And we've gone to a new all-time highs after that as well. So until I see it break that and we're down like 40, 50%, I'm going to be like, I think we can still, bounce back up here. Okay. HB, what do you think the ceiling is for Bitcoin? I know Timely as always says 1 million per coin. Are you that bullish? Eventually, I think we'll get there, right? Whether it's going to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I don't know. But I think eventually we will get there to 1 million in time. All right, Paul, many saying when the government shutdown ends, the real job reports will come in and be potentially bad for the markets. We'll see. Or it could be actually pretty good for the markets, right? Depending on what kind of numbers come out there. Paul Brown says, Tom Lee bought a ton of ETH today. Okay, nice. Let's see. Ryan celebrates 32 months of membership. Ryan, thank you so much for being a member for that long. That is definitely going back to the early days. Don't forget to like the video, keep the faith. I appreciate it, and thank you so much, Ryan. Jay, do you think the overall market volatility will overshadow these amazing earnings? They might, if it bleeds into tomorrow as well. All right, if the overall market's still going down because people are panicking, or the algos are panicking, or short-circuiting, whatever it might be. But short-term pain for a lot more longer-term gain, I think, is still in play here for Iren especially. I mean, you can see how much revenue they're going to be generating next year, and then multiply that times basically what their potential is times 5, and you can see where they possibly could go in a number of years. Joe says, be patient and DCA on Iren. I would agree there. Bayo Lao, why you think NVIDIA CEO thinks China will win the AI race? He mentioned it. He said basically less regulations and the government there is backing them, basically subsidizing electricity and things like that. So that might be the reason why. So the U.S. needs to get their act together and get rid of some of the regulations, some of the red tape that's involved in trying to build out these data centers and streamline the process and also speed it up as much as they can. All right, Dragos, Iren and Cypher will continue to be big winners going forward. I agree with you there as well. Midnight, when do you think the government shutdown will end? Oh gosh, I don't know. I wish I knew. Hopefully it's sometime this month. I don't want it to drag on any longer than it has to. But both sides are pretty stubborn, which is not a good combination there. Gary, CoreWeave has a market cap 3x of Iren at 68 billion. They aren't projected to turn a positive quarter in the next 3 years. So I'm happy with Iren's earnings. Lots of expenses to start as a neocloud. Yeah, but they definitely have, well, they have the money for it. Microsoft is helping them out as well. So that's all good there. Paul, hopefully the weekly ends above 103 to stay bullish. Tomorrow, so that means we'd have to go up basically $1,200, $1,300 tomorrow, which is doable, right? It's not out of the question there. We'll have to wait and see. All right, Ryan's got a question here. Do you think this bull run feels emotionally as bullish as the last cycle? Do you think this bull run feels emotionally as bullish? No, nowhere near. The bull run last time was definitely much more euphoria, much more hype than what you're seeing right now and this time around. This time it's subdued. Right? Bitcoin's been up a little bit here this year, but nowhere near what we would have expected to be in a major bull run right around this time for Bitcoin. Let's see here. Bao asks, how many Iren you hold? I have over 7,000 shares of that. NG, what happened year to date? Why did everything go wiped? What happened year to date? Today, maybe you're asking? Today, it was a jobs report that, had the markets panicking there. Let's see, are these good levels to average in for Bitfarms? Possibly. I think Bitfarms should be valued more from where they are right now. That financial advice is always, right? I would be probably dollar cost averaging though if I was going to be doing that. Joe says I hold 10,000. Okay, that's awesome. That is freaking awesome. That's great. Let's see, IFS trades. Why do you think BTC dropped so much? Do you see Iren bouncing back up into the 80s soon? Define soon, right? Is it going to be in the next day? Probably not. Is it going to be in the next couple of days, maybe a week or so over that? I think there's definitely a good chance for that. But we need the markets to turn around. And BTC dropped because, well, risk-off assets basically happened when the jobs report came out today, right? 152,000 jobs being basically people being laid off or being fired, whatever. It was a bigger increase than maybe they were thinking it was going to be. So that's why everything kind of went down today. All right. See, IFS Trade says BTC is bullish around the 4th week of November into December, right? Not always, depending on the cycle. We have seen it where it kind of peaked before then as well, at least prior cycles. So, not always. Adam, Ben Cohen says if Bitcoin closes below the 50 MA on the weekly, we're going into the bear market. That would be 103,000 thoughts. On the weekly, let's take a look. Let's see, Bitcoin on the weekly here. I got Bitcoin weekly. Okay, so we are at the 50 here. If it closes below it, I should probably pull this up here. Historically, we have bounced off of that, right? We did that in July of last year. We did it also in September of last year, and then we did it again here in April and May of this year, and we bounced off of it here. If we go back far enough here, once we got into this, we bounced off of it here back in 2023 as well, and then we're going back to all the way in the prior cycles here. All right, here's a prior cycle, right? This was back in 21. We closed below the 50 here. Right, was it the 50? Yeah, that was the 50. We closed below the 50 here, and we still were able to go up higher at that point into, obviously, November, right? November, what was it? November 15th, November 8th of 2021 is kind of where we peaked. Then we went down after that. Looking at over here, right? We dipped below it over here as well. This was back in 20. This was obviously COVID at that point. And we bounced back up and were able to go up higher as well into 2021 here. So I wouldn't say it's like 100% guarantee that the bear market is going to be over if we dip below the 50 SMA, and that we're going to be coming back down here. We've had, like I said before, corrections as well that we're down 30%, right? From here down to here, we went 30%. From here, which was back in March in 2024, to April, to September, I guess you could say September or even August there. At one point, we dipped like 30 some odd percent here. So we have dipped twice already, 30%. Right now, we're only down, what are we down? 20 some odd percent here if we look at it. On it, we are down approximately 21%. So we'll see. We'll see if we bounce tomorrow. We might bounce, get above that, and that would be great. Then could we dip a little bit more and then bounce back up? Yeah, we could still do that. But nobody has a crystal ball. We'll see on that one. But it could be one of those things where they're trying to, get people to capitulate, to be scared, to get out of the market in Bitcoin, and then it goes back up. I don't know for a fact. I still think we're going to be in an extended cycle, but I could be wrong. DeFi, I think BMNR at 1 NAV is the best buy in the market. Stablecoin is getting more traction, which is all built on top of Ethereum. This will be generational opportunity. Again, like DeFi, you should probably know by now that I love the fact that they're buying up Ethereum and everything else, but I'm not a fan of the treasury companies. I don't know if they should get any kind of a premium, maybe a slight premium, right? 1.1 MNAV or something like that at most, or maybe 1.2. But what we saw last year getting with MicroStrategy, right, getting a huge premium was like a 3 MNAV or 4 MNAV, I can't remember what it was, but it was just outrageous. At that point I saw that thing had to come down, and it did back in November of last year, if you recall. So we'll see. I'm not a big fan, like I said. Kung Fu Practitioner here. Where do you see Iren price action going after earnings today, end of year price target? I think we'll possibly get to around $100, but the market has to go up as well, right? I think at that point. So if the market still continues to rally here, or at least go up slowly, I think they could get to around $100, if not more, at that point. They have a lot of potential, obviously, going into next year, into 2027 as well. That's kind of where I'm thinking here. DeFi price target for Iren. How are we looking? A all-time high? Iren, I mean, that's kind of like what I talked about. I think based on the current annual run rates that they have announced, we're seeing them somewhere between $135 and like $200 potentially in the next year. Dan says they really want to shake us out bad. No pain, no gain. I agree there. When is Cleanspark's earnings? We don't know. They haven't reported yet. Cleanspark those are their fiscal year-end earnings. Those will always take a little bit more time because those are audited actually. So I'm expecting those probably sometime by the end of November here. Maybe the middle, maybe in about a week or two, somewhere around there. I would think that they would be ready at that point. HB thoughts on price action of Bitfarms, Hive, Cleanspark all hit 52-week highs a few weeks ago, off of not really any news, and now all getting hit hard off no news again. Some manipulation possibly happening there as well. Bitfarms obviously had news on them getting the financing for the $300 million for their project to build out. They also got the capped calls or the convertible notes for them. Cleanspark, right? Transitioning into an HPCI player as well. That was the reason that thing has run up here, and it's just you need more news on that, I think, right? So maybe we'll get that with the conference call, earnings call. Victor, question: are we expecting a good earnings report for Cleanspark? Depending what they say as far as what their guidance is going forward, I think it's gonna be close to see if they can get a positive EPS without the FSB impact on it. With the FSB impact, they should be positive, but without it, I want to see if they get positive on that. So we'll see. No Name Channel. Cleanspark to announce next earnings between November 20th and December 4th. Okay, so kind of like where I was thinking, right? Towards the end of the month here. Haven't seen any data announced yet, or date, unless I missed it. No, I haven't seen anything either, and I'm checking every day. SKYA is Bitfarms price falling. Cleanspark is down 30%, right? Bitfarms down 30%, 40%, whatever it is, down. Mara's down also. All of these guys have been coming down here the last couple of weeks. All right. Rob, how old is Ben, the CEO of Bitfarms? He is in his mid-30s, I want to say. Early 30s, somewhere around there. Victor C., are we expecting good earnings report for Cleanspark? I just talked about that, right? I think there'll be positive EPS with the FSB impact. And then we're just going to have to obviously wait and see what the report of guidance. Where are they going to be going next year, right? HPCI, where's that going to be going? All that stuff. Rob asks, I wonder why Trump doesn't mention anything about the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin as a myth and encourages people to buy more Bitcoin, because his family's in it as well. It's just more adoption, more institutions, all that stuff here. I don't even, he might know about the 4-year cycle. I'm sure his kids know about it, but I don't know if he knows about it. Quasi, heard that Iren is taking a lot more debt recently. Any news on that? Well, they got to take on debt to build out the data centers, right? For Microsoft and also for them, which is fine, because once you build out those data centers, you have those data centers for, possibly 20, 30, 40 years, depending on the technology that goes forward and what are the demands on it. But overall, you could definitely get at least 20 years out of those things. So once you build them out, you have them, and then you get to basically reap the rewards of that for the next 15 years potentially. All right. Guy, at what price BTC you think we can say that we are into crypto winter? I would say if we fall below 90,000, I would say at that point we're more than 30% down. A lot more than 30, well, not a lot more, but yeah, I would say probably under 90. If we go under 90, we might be going into crypto winter, and we might have another cycle here now. I was completely wrong about having an extended cycle. Rob, does anyone know if the crypto advisor guy is a Democrat? I have no idea. SH government shutdown will end next week. Republicans have no options but to negotiate after all the election losses this week. That might be the case there. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Karan, is it? It's just pump and dump going on. Kind of looks like it. Karan, how Iren can go into November? How high can it go? Nobody knows on that one, right? We could get to $80, maybe a little bit more than that. We'll have to wait and see. Can it do 80 tomorrow? Tomorrow, probably not, I don't think, unless the market does really well. Then they would have to definitely do very, very well here tomorrow. Victor, does Cleanspark include FSB? Yes, they do include that as well. Tom question, Seb, I think you mentioned you are going to do a report on Hut 8, maybe Sunday or Monday. Is that? Yes, that is still on. That's my plan, is to get that data pulled in this weekend here. So I will do a report on them as well. So that'll be happening. All right, Edward, will Bitfarms announce a deal soon? What's your opinion? I don't know about that. I'd love to see it, but I don't know. All right. Yeah, that's a tough one to figure out if there's going to be a deal or not. They've been at it for a little while now. I think as more time passes, I think the closer we'll get to it. I just don't know exactly when it's going to happen. So just have to be patient there, unfortunately. All right, DFly, if BMR stakes their ETH, net income is $370 million, which will make them one of the top profitable companies in the U.S. And if they get multiples as much as most stocks do, they easy 2 to 3x above NAV and then dividends. I mean, that's definitely a possibility there. I'm not saying it isn't, but will they get valued on it? That's the big thing, right? MicroStrategy is not being valued on the HODL that they have right now. Other companies, Cleanspark, Mara, and others are not being valued on their Bitcoin holdings right now. So I don't know if they're going to get the valuation for it there. Rob, I think anytime now Bitfarms will get a contract with the hyperscaler. That would be great, right? I'd be all for it. I'd love to see that, but I just don't know. DFly. BNR and MicroStrategy are not the same, as BNR can earn yield and institutions love yields. Plus, BNR is one of the most traded stocks on the, so whales love a liquid stock. That is true, right? There is some differences there as well. But you also can have MicroStrategy become a BTC bank if they wanted to. I mean, with as much as Bitcoin that they have there, they could generate some good yield on that as well. Oki, what should I sell? Mara for now? That's completely up to you, right? Mara could surprise us. You just never know. That's going to be your call on that one. I do think there's better companies out there currently, but that's going to be your call. SAH, if Bitfarms doesn't release any contract next week, then the company is in talk for a buyout, in my opinion. Another buyout for them? Oh, gosh. I don't know if they would be willing to buy out, because if there were any talks of that, I don't know if they would have went through the convertible notes, right? All that stuff that they did here. I think they're still planning on the long game here. I don't think they want to give up that easy. They went through a battle with Riot. They won that in a sense. So I don't know if they're willing to, let it all go again. I think they want to run. I think they want to run longer, but But again, depending on the deal, if somebody offers them, $5 billion or something like that, maybe they would take it. I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how tomorrow goes, though, for sure. All right, that is it. That is all I got for you guys. You guys come to all your guys' questions and everything else. We'll see how tomorrow goes. It's been a roller coaster ride this week. We've been up, we've been down, we've been up, we've been down. We'll see where we end up the week at that point. And, we'll keep an eye on Bitcoin. Is this going to be the end of it? Are we, continuing the 4-year cycles again and we're going down? We'll have to obviously keep an eye on it. And then Rob says, place all your bets with Bitfarms. They are going to score big. Okay. I hope you are right there. For you and for everybody else that has Bitfarms, right? I want all you guys to do very well. Regardless of whether you're in Bitfarms, whether you're in Riot or Wolf or Iren, or whatever it might be. I hope all of those things go up crazy for you all and you guys are able to make it big here. But yeah, that is it. Thank you so much for coming in as always. I greatly appreciate you guys spending time here with me. Love you all. And I will see you guys in the next one. And I got one from Sodahead coming in. Did you book profits or keep when stocks going down? I'm continuing to hold here, so I have not sold anything yet. I'm still holding strong the shares that I do have in Cypher, Cleanspark, Iren, and Bitfarms as well. All right, that is it. Love you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk about whatever happens tomorrow. Until then,